Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You. I'm Sue Perkins, and in the news this week, relaxing on holiday after handing in his resignation, the boss of Volkswagen lets his wife have a drag on his pipe. After his report into airport expansion is thrown out by David Cameron, Sir Howard Davis admits he may have overreacted.
I have dumped on his desk.
And as the media scrutinises his every move for blunders, Jeremy Corbyn takes time out at his friend's electrical appliance warehouse at the weekend. On Ian's team tonight is a comedian who says she cried at the end of Bake Off. We all cried. I was inconsolable. I put 50 quid on Tamal to win. Please welcome Roisin Conaty! And with Paul tonight is the man recently chosen as the Labour candidate for the London Mayor. Charismatic and good-looking. Just two of Zach Goldsmith's attributes that he's going to need to overcome. Please welcome Sadiq Khan! And we're going to start with the biggest stories of the week. Paul and Sadiq, take a look at this.
Oh, yes.
It's not a U-turn.
No, that's not a U-turn.
It's the impression of a U-turn. That's the Shadow Chancellor, John McDonnell. That's George Osborne.
Yes.
This is the fiscal charter, which was John's clever plan to give the impression he was going to support it, but really we were going to oppose it.
We're going to call it what it is. It's a U-turn on supporting
That is
George
outrageous.
Osborne's charter. Deal with it for budget responsibility. Can anyone, first of all, tell me what Osborne's charter is?
Yeah, he's trying to make law the fact that you have to run a budget surplus even in good times. It's an absolutely ridiculous idea in the first place.
Basically, it's bollocks.
Is that a political
Right,
term?
that's the level of economic analysis
yes.
you're going to get.
So the Chancellor's target was balancing the books by 2020 and then running a surplus every following year in normal times.
We've got tens of billions of pounds worth of deficit, so George Osborne is breaking his own rules and has broken every prediction he's made since 2010.
So would it have been a good idea to say that originally?
It's not the means that matters, it's the ends. And we got there in the end,
I mean,
Ian.
I know you're the politician, but I always thought the opposition was there to oppose.
2 weeks ago at the Labour conference, Shadow Chancellor John McDonnell said Labour would support Osborne's plan. Why did he then say that? Come on. No shilly-shallying.
It was part of the cunning plan.
Oh, yeah. OK.
I don't think this Baldrick
Baldrick,
thing's going to work.
Well, because it is a gimmick, John said, look, it's complete rubbish, and so we'll just go along to the chamber and support it, because it's just nonsense.
What you're saying is the Labour Party was sort of like, oh, it's a trap, we're not falling for that, we're going to climb in it. And then embarrassingly get out. Yeah, it is a trap. Yeah, getting out of that trap that we said it was, just making sure. But hasn't George Osborne, didn't he, before, turn this down? Didn't he say, like, fiscal responsibility acts with a fiscal unresponsible?
You're absolutely on the nail that George Osborne performed a U-turn of his own. Criticising Gordon Brown in 2010, he said, fiscal responsibility acts are instruments of the fiscally irresponsible to con the public.
Ah, but it's changed, because now he wants to con the public. So it's different.
Different traps. Who helped McDonnell decide to make the U-turn?
Well, there was Sooty.
Yeah. There's always Sooty.
I think we should go for fiscal charter. Sooty's very good on economics. He said, you're going to want to borrow one day, John, so don't sign it. OK, so he didn't. That's not true, that bit. About Sooty. They haven't got anyone nearly as good as Sooty.
You're obsessed with Sooty. You've
Yeah,
mentioned his name 3 times in the last 20 seconds.
I want him to be in the cabinet.
Is that as far as your desires and ambitions go for the little bear?
No, I think he could get the top job. And if he comes on this programme, he could be Mayor of London.
During the debate, how did he describe his decision to reverse Labour's stance?
Embarrassing. That one?
Was he a Dalek?
He looked like, you know, when you're hungover and you have a memory and you go, oh, God, no. He just kept saying, embarrassing, embarrassing. It's like, stop saying it, you're on telly.
It was like he was having some kind of malfunction. Yeah.
Couldn't we restage it with glove puppets? Give Sooty his chance.
Sadiq, do you feel it's embarrassing?
Had I known I'd be doing this show on the Friday after, then probably would have said no to this show, but look, I mean...
Oh, it could be any week in the next 12.
OK, so there was a meeting of the Parliamentary Labour Party on Monday night, which the Telegraph described as heated. Why was that?
It's getting cold. Once October comes, it blows everything. That's right. That's the right one.
Well, apparently several members stormed out when McDonald announced his decision to reject the Charter. One MP said, "It was the worst, most scathing meeting of the Parliamentary Labour Party I've ever attended." It was probably best summed up by Ben Bradshaw, who left the meeting saying, "It's a total fucking shambles." Although a McDonald spokesman described the meeting as quite positive. What was Jeremy, your leader, doing during all of this? Total shambles.
I think our leader was listening.
He sat in silence throughout most of it, and as one backbencher put it, he was like a spare prick at a wedding.
They're quite foul-mouthed, these Labour MPs, aren't they? Were you at this meeting?
No, it's one of those meetings I missed.
Is that true?
The words are plausible deniability.
So a lie, then.
And anyway, Sadiq organised Ed's campaign, so we can trust him.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long night, isn't it?
It is. Not as long as his.
Do you think it's... my own theory is that...
Oh, it was the next question. It's the same question the whole night.
We're teasing it out. Do you ever feel that maybe this is all your fault?
Honestly, that bake-off image is gone for good.
But that would only be the case if you'd nominated Jeremy Corbyn for the leadership contest.
You didn't, did you?
I did. And I think... look, I mean, you know, I think it's early days yet.
It is early days. I do
But you
think
didn't
it is
vote
early
for him,
days.
though, did you?
No.
You nominated... So, hang on, you nominated Jeremy Corbyn?
Yeah.
OK. And then you didn't vote for him? You went for Andy Burnham?
Yeah.
And you were also, as Ian said...
You make it sound as if that was a trick question.
Well, BBC's Newsnight did its own mini poll about the electability of Jeremy. Let's see how that went.
How many of you would vote Labour if Jeremy Corbyn was leader? You put your hands up if you would. There, one.
I don't know that they should have let Jeremy into that poll. I think it's slightly... This week we found out what Jeremy Corbyn's long-standing private engagement was that prevented him from meeting the Queen and the Privy Council. What was he up to?
He was on a break, recharging his batteries after a really hectic and busy summer.
You make him sound like an electric vehicle.
He was on holiday in Scotland.
He was having fish and chips and a soft drink at the Ben Nevis Bar and Restaurant in Fort William whilst on a walking holiday. We've got a picture of him relaxing there with the pub landlords.
Nice sweater.
You can see he's just smuggled 6 bags of cheese and onion crisps right under the landlord's nose.
Because he wasn't at the Privy Council, so he can't get told about sort of threats like Syria and stuff like that. Is that right?
He doesn't get a security briefing.
Right.
Until he turns up.
Right.
So he'll have to go at some stage. But he didn't go this week.
Who here has been to a Privy Council meeting?
I have.
Yeah.
So what's needed? What do you need to do? What's the initiation ceremony?
First time you go in there, you swear an oath to the Queen.
And is there any kissing involved or kneeling?
I did both.
Were you required to do both?
I was told those are the rules to get in.
So you kiss the hand?
Yeah.
You don't, isn't it supposed to brush your nose with it? Which
Well,
sounds...
no one told me that, so I kissed her hand. I was told afterwards that I was supposed to have...
Sorry, you met the Queen and you're supposed to do this? Finally, why might Labour's Deputy Leader Tom Watson have been a bit too distracted this week to notice his party imploding?
He's on full-time pedo duty.
We were all thinking how to phrase it, Ian.
Yeah.
I thought I'd do it technically. He's roaming around the country shouting through people's windows, "Pedo! I can see you in there, paedophile. Pedo!" Unfortunately, some of the people he's shouting at aren't pedos, you know, which is a problem for him and everyone else.
This is the Labour Party beginning to fall apart with just 5 nail-biting years to go before the general election. Diane Abbott attempted to defend Labour's U-turn on Radio 4's Today programme, but instead, according to The Times, her strategy was one of cheerful cluelessness, leading many in the Labour Party to question her usefulness, unless, of course, you want a game of battleships. Ian and Roisin, take a look at this. Oh.
It's a U-turn. Well, this is the Tory U-turn.
Yes, we were going to provide a prison training service, and they're going to advise Saudi Arabia on their jails. It's like, oh, what, is your hand hurting from whipping?
It's just us sucking up to the Saudis yet again.
Yeah.
But finally someone's called their bluff.
You're absolutely right. This is the famous Liberal Michael Gove affecting the
But he
government's...
is! I mean, it's a really liberal move.
It is a liberal move, affecting the government's U-turn over supplying Saudi Arabia with consultancy advice for their prison system worth £6 million. Why has Cameron U-turned? Has he only just realised that Saudi Arabia execute 200 people a year?
No, I think he was aware of it before, but he didn't care. I mean, it's partly, you know, the Labour Party have raised this issue.
Jeremy Corbyn mentioned it in his speech in Brighton, and lo and behold, 2 weeks later, you've got this massive U-turn from the government.
He challenged Cameron about the deal to help the Saudis take control of the UN Committee on Human Rights when they were planning to behead a teenager for looking at things on the internet. This is Jon Snow taking Cameron to task.
We, in November, did a deal with the Saudis that we would back them joining the Human Rights Council of the United Nations, providing they backed us. Now, this sounds a bit squalid for one of the most human rights abusing regimes on earth.
Well, Saudi Arabia is a member of the United Nations, but we completely disagree with them.
Well, why did you want them inside the human rights?
Well, we completely disagree with them about the punishment routines, about the death penalty, about those issues.
Well, why did we do this
them...
deal then? I mean, they're not the right sort of people to be doing any sort of a deal on human rights.
Well, we totally oppose their record in that area.
Why did we do it?
Well, I say we totally oppose their record.
No, but why did we do it?
I've answered the question.
Well, that isn't an answer, is it?
There's potentially another reason as well, a single case that might have precipitated
The blogger.
this.
The wine, the guy who made the wine.
This is it, yes. Do you know anything more about him?
He made really bad wine. No, he made he made homemade wine in Saudi Arabia.
Yep.
And he is in prison, and they said they might flog him.
Ironically, for going on the lash.
What did he make the wine out of? Do we know?
This we don't know, just homemade. Which sounds a little suspect, doesn't
You
it?
make wine out of nettles, can't you? You know, you can make wine out
Boots
of...
kit.
Boots kit, yes, yes.
You just do it in the bath, don't you?
The idea of you making wine in the bath.
Champagne and a bidet, yes.
The bubbles are fantastic.
Was Saudi Arabia always called Saudi Arabia?
It was given to the Saud family.
That's fine,
King
fine,
Saud. So it's as though England was known as Lisland.
Please, can we now rename it Lisland?
Lisland. I think that'd be rather good.
Yeah.
Think Jeremy would go for that? Lisland, Lisland.
Isn't that the German national anthem?
It is. Well, I'm just going back a little bit in history.
It sounds like a Queen-related theme park, Lisland.
Get a ride on the Duke of Edinburgh.
Staying with... oh, no. That's going to take a while to leave my mind.
You've got to be this high to get on this ride. Come on. I don't know what joke you think you're objecting to. Some of you got very dirty minds out there.
Can I just say...
Yeah.
If Her Majesty is watching, as a member of the Privy
If she's
Council...
watching?
I apologise profusely for what your subjects are saying.
She's not watching this, she's watching Piers Morgan interviews the Bee Gees on Life Stories.
If she is watching, she's saying, there's the guy who snogged my hand as opposed to doing that. OK, we'll stay with the broad news.
Is that a info into the Queen these days, the broad? That's not very good, is it?
Who wants Britain to stay in a broad?
Richard Branson, all sensible people, people who aren't xenophobes, and people who like us to have jobs and growth in this country.
You made a distinction between Richard Branson and all sensible people.
Any other prominent names.
What about Jeremy? He's got a bit of form on wanting to leave, hasn't he?
I think you'll find we're definitely in favour of staying in European this week anyway.
When can we expect a solid answer?
No, I think you've heard it here tonight. We're going to campaign to stay in the EU.
What, this is breaking news now? You've decided it on a comedy panel show?
All the former Prime Ministers, they're in. Do you see them?
Yes.
They all agree.
Who haven't they got, though, that they really want?
Mary Berry.
Couldn't possibly comment on her views on Europe. Mainly, can't get a sensible word out of her after about 8 o'clock.
What sort of words do you get out after 8 o'clock?
So who can you think of that would really seal the deal?
Boris Johnson.
Indeed. He went to a trade mission where?
He's in Japan.
Yeah. What did he say that was seized on by the press in regards to Europe?
Europe, 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 Europe,
He said the price of getting out of Europe has never been lower. I don't know if he travels EasyJet, but that was his statement about it. Now, while in Japan, Boris tried out a range of Japanese goods, including some authentic Japanese footwear.
Thank you, that's it. Thank you.
They're just having a laugh, aren't they? The people at the temple said, we got these clown shoes, go on. Get him to wear them, I bet he'll wear them.
I really hope they hid his real shoes after, so he had to walk home in them.
The long Shinto walk of shame. The Japanese even have a word specifically to describe the act of sending Boris Johnson to a culturally sensitive part of the world, and that word is kamikaze. What else did Boris do while he was out there?
It was on the news. He tripped over a boy while playing rugby. He sort of shoulder charged him, and this 8-year-old boy collapsed into a heap, and Boris sort of, you know, just said, well, yeah.
Collateral damage.
Collateral damage, he said, yeah, collateral damage.
Rugby.
He sort of... he saw the boy and he went for him. He played the boy, not the ball.
He did indeed, you're absolutely right, Paul. He squashed a small child. Here are some really captivating images of him just playing. Just a little bit of play there. Where else has Britain been falling down in our dealings with abroad?
Is it war?
We've come up short in a war. We didn't turn up.
Yeah.
So we thought you said 11.
In terms of diplomacy, what might one do when you visit somebody from a foreign land?
You take along a gift of some kind.
Absolutely. According to Anna Soubry, we've given some very poor quality gifts. We, in return, received some quite nice gifts. What did the Queen get? What was she given in Fiji?
Was it Fiji?
I've got one of these.
That is. Some more islands.
Not a lake, but something... I was going to say something that swims in it, but it doesn't. Something that perhaps is in a river.
A whale.
Yes, it is a whale. What bit of the whale?
What?
A bit of a whale.
She got bits of whale.
She got a bit of a whale.
Well, I mean...
Well, you can't get a whole whale. That's a massive gift.
But it makes sense. It's the whole whale.
But you have to sort of pretend you don't know what it is when you unwrap it. Or is it a bike?
Yeah, that's the thing. When gift wrapping a whale, would you cover the blowhole or not?
I think you'd have to.
For reasons of national security.
Otherwise you'd be giving it away, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Your Christmas present just eaten 5,000 tonne of plankton.
It wasn't a whole whale, can I say? It was not a whole whale.
You're saying it like it's not as bad because it wasn't a whole whale. That's why I'm upset. Like, was it just his eyes? Like...
No, slightly lower than the eyes.
His nose?
Oh.
Do they have noses?
Was it
They do now.
a whale tooth?
Yes, it was. In my sad universe, I like to think they painlessly extracted and then let it go on its way.
Yeah.
This is for the Queen!
No, they did it really nicely, and there was sort of music playing in the background.
What?
Really nice dentist.
Whale music.
To calm him down, it sounds like hundreds of his peers are watching.
Yeah. I don't know how big would a whale's tooth be?
Oh, you'd have to adjust the chair. Well,
Well, if you think a tooth from a sperm whale's good, what do the islanders of Tana in the South Pacific give the Duke of Edinburgh?
Was it the rest of the world? You can match them.
I can tell you this as a clue.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd already got one of these.
Was it a Wham album?
They gave him
Yes?
a straw penis sheath for the man who has everything.
Well, who has a straw penis, presumably.
Who's been getting a gift from the Russians, on a more serious note?
Are you doing a gift in the real sense of the gift or like a bad gift?
This is a bad gift.
Oh, right,
Bad
OK.
gift.
This is specifically about the gift from the Russians to President Assad of Syria. Russia's been bombing all of his opponents, including, on occasions, ISIS. They've started firing cruise missiles from the ships in the Caspian, 930 miles away, and 4 missiles landed in...
Iran.
Iran, indeed.
Amazon missile. Just not in, go next door.
This is the government's U-turn on the Saudi prison contract. Britain is involved in a row with Saudi Arabia over the cancellation of a prison deal and the threat to flog one of our citizens. Saudi Arabia is not a sensible place for a bloke to drink alcohol, because if you do get drunk, you can't even get your wife to drive you home. And so, to round 2, the one-armed bandit of news. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here is the first one. Paul and Sadiq.
This is the news that from now on there'll be no more nude women in Playboy magazine.
Why have they come to that sensible decision?
They're going to use actual rabbits now, but with human ears.
And
Human ears.
bums.
Human bums.
Human bums. Human-bummed rabbits will be serving you drinks from January the 1st.
They have actually realised... You'll know this, Ian, the reason... You'll know this. It's down to the influence of online pornography. Playboy CEO Scott Flanders told reporters, nudity is passé now that you're one click away from every sex act imaginable. Just one click, Ian. One click away. In dropping nudity from the magazine, who are they now trying to appeal to?
Younger people.
Yes, specifically.
Children. Play baby.
The job for Tom Watson.
They actually said they want to appeal to young urban males. It's a kick in the teeth for all those rural masturbators.
There was a fantastic interview. Do you remember Ruby Wax interviewed Hugh Hefner? And she looked at him and said, do you ever fantasise with your girlfriends that they love you? She was a brilliant interviewer.
Carrying on with women's issues, this week it emerged that female Chinese cabin crew had been forced to do what ritual on aeroplanes? They were expected to climb into overhead lockers as part of an initiation ritual. Let's have a look. Pixelated out her shame and hers too.
You've also pixelated her hands.
I was thinking that the overhead locker looks more comfortable than most seats.
I thought that.
The airline did say that the incident occurred after the crew had completed in-flight duties and argued that the safety of the flight was not affected. So that's fine, then. In better news for Chinese women, who was awarded the Nobel Prize for Medicine last week?
I know who's appointed the Nobel Prize for Economics.
I don't know either.
No.
Don't judge me.
It was an 84-year-old woman called Tu Yuyu, there she is, first Chinese woman to win the award, and one bright spark pointed out that Tu Yuyu may have won the Nobel Prize, but, here goes the tweet, congratulations to Tu Yuyu on winning the Nobel Prize in Medicine, and also for being the most awkward person to sing Happy Birthday to.
I don't wish to be rude, but she looks a bit like the Dalai Lama in drag. It's not... it's not him, is it? It's him. He's smuggled his way through.
It is, actually.
How many Nobel Peace Prizes does he want?
Fingers on buzzers, teams.
An American woman, her nephew ran to her arms and shouted, "I love you!" And as he landed on her, he broke her shoulder. It's like 2 years ago. And she's suing her nephew for £125,000.
Is right. This is indeed the news that a woman in the US who took her 12-year-old nephew to court has been awarded 0 damages. Hooray. Yeah, common sense has prevailed. And you've rightly said that the aunt, Jennifer Connell, claimed her nephew had left her with a broken wrist. Her lawyer claimed, "We do not take great pleasure in bringing a minor to court," but the nephew, who was 8 at the time of the hug, should have known better. Crucially, as part of the evidence, how was poor Aunt Jenny, as I think we should rightfully refer to, how is she still suffering from the hug?
She finds it impossible to carry out a full Nazi salute.
Well, you're on the right track, because she told the court at a recent dinner party she found it difficult to hold my hors d'oeuvre plate. That was just for starters.
Should just leave it on the table. Doesn't have to. Typical American. It's evil.
In other crime news, why are public order offences surging nearly 20% across the country? It's because a new edict states that all complaints from the public must be included by police in official statistics. So as a result, why was a teenage girl reported to Hampshire Constabulary over an incident with a perfume bottle?
Was it, was it one of those tester bottles in a department store and she sort of picked it up and just squirted it in somebody's face?
She had an argument with her mum. She used her mother's perfume before running out of the house. And according to the Times, although the bottle remained intact, her puff was recorded as theft. According to Simon Hayes, who is Hampshire's elected crime chief, the officers were never going to be able to prove whether or not the daughter did help herself to the perfume, so the crime remains unsolved.
Dick, you can change this, can't you, if you get into power? You can make this not be a thing.
If Jeremy Corbyn was Prime Minister, none of this would happen.
You could just be walking past a police officer, oh, you know, and they're like, oh, I've got to write that down, you know.
Well, if you're going to get done for just sort of muttering something, you might as well punch him in the face.
What happened to a man in Lima this week who attempted to break into a shop in just his undercrackers?
Was it a trousers shop?
Yes.
Absolutely. He went straight in, put on a pair of trousers, thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
No one can now see my undercrackers.
Undercrackers. If only he'd got as far as the trouser shop, he actually got stuck and then got caught. Wow. Dear. Oh, on the plus side, he did win the Turner Prize. Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here we go.
This is... The Times is now having a Latin crossword.
What does that say in Latin? What does that mean?
Crime fan, to you, I bring you news. Have I got news for you, it means?
Absolutely. The Times have finally printed their long-awaited sequel to the 1930 Latin crossword. And in waiting 85 years, they probably wanted the one person who'd started it to actually finish. The questions are a mix of straight and mildly cryptic clues, mainly in English, with the answers in Latin.
22 across is a particularly hard clue. And you, brackets, plural perhaps, were speaking, colon, I mean Dubai, FAQ, elite. I mean, I don't even understand the clue.
Presumably this is the sort of thing you'd get at a new grammar school.
Yeah, and they'd probably knock it off in 20 minutes.
Yeah. Talking of grammar schools, does anybody know about the government plans to approve the first new grammar school in 50 years?
Yeah, it's an extension of the Weald of Kent School.
What makes
Very good school.
Did you go to that school?
You think I went to a grammar school?
I'm so terribly sorry.
Gosh,
Forgive me,
we've had
sir.
some rude people on this show.
Forgive me, sir. So you know it of old, though. You've got some chumps. What's the controversy about the extension, though?
This is to get around the rules that you can't open new grammar schools.
It's not in the same town.
I mean, the law means, strictly speaking, the new Sevenoaks School, which is the annex, as you say, of the Weald of Kent Grammar School in Tunbridge, it's 8 miles away.
This is a long corridor.
So back to Latin now. What other old Italian has been in the news this week?
Berlusconi.
It is Berlusconi. What's he done this week?
He has written a book.
He has, indeed. Does anyone know the title of the book?
My Way.
Yeah, it is. It's My Way. Although I think surely Strangers in the Night might have been slightly more appropriate.
He looks like a Chesterfield sofa. I think if he took his jumper off, he'd have all those buttons all over him.
The only difference being nobody wants to sit on him.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit on him.
Or get the loose changes falling down the back.
You'd give it a good rummage just to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got loads of interesting stories in it, this book. What did Berlusconi show George Clooney while he was round his house?
A double bed that Sarkozy bought him?
No, not Sarkozy. Close.
Oh.
Who would you
Putin.
love? That's exactly right.
Who?
Everyone
Putin.
wants Putin. Everyone wants a double bed off Putin.
Yeah.
So Clooney actually said, I went to speak about Darfur, done all my homework. Afterwards, he took me to see his bedroom and the double bed that Putin had given him. Clooney added, it was one of the more astonishing evenings of my life. This is the news that, as part of their fight back against the decline of print journalism, the Times have published a Latin crossword. It's hoped that this new puzzle will raise interest in Latin to negligible. Still
Oh,
keeping
you've got
it
him
going.
riled on that.
One man stands alone.
How do you say one man stands alone in Latin?
No. Because I'll end up getting it wrong and making the case against it. But anyway, no, I'm all for Latin.
Don't you know you leave
Unus
it?
homus stet solus.
There you
It'll
go.
be equivalent of that, but not all in the same case.
We should say it.
OK, time now for the odd one out round. It's just one between you this week, and your four are Sadiq Khan. There you are. Michael Portillo, Jon Snow, and Aplectohincus Kereleonothus.
This is about bastards.
I thought you all had, like, teeth missing.
It is about bastards.
That's the clue, because Jon
Absolutely.
Snow from Game of Thrones is
Please
a
do that
bastard.
voice again. Please do the voice
Jon
again.
Snow, winter's coming. He's a bastard. Michael Portillo was described as a bastard by John Major when he rebelled. Sadiq Khan described the entire electorate as bastards when they didn't vote Ed Miliband in. Is that not true?
No, it's not.
Oh, right, OK.
I was alleged to have said that all voters are bastards.
Oh, right, but you didn't say that.
No, I didn't say that.
So this story's not true?
No, it's not true.
Oh, right, well, there's no link then. That fish is a bastard.
Bastards is right, but who's the odd one out?
The fish is the odd one out.
No, not the fish.
Oh.
Sadiq.
Absolutely. They've all been called bastards, except Sadiq, who called voters.
Allegedly.
Allegedly called. How are you planning to get those bastards back on side before the mayoral elections next year?
Did you see Boris's slogan in attempting to back Goldsmith? He said it was, from now on, it was back Zach and crack London's problems.
So, Michael Portillo, as you said, 1993, along with two other MPs, he was called a disloyal bastard by then Prime Minister John Major. Speaking about the incident in 2013, what did Mr Major have to say about his use of words?
I was absolutely accurate in what I said, and I wish I'd used stronger language.
Pretty much it. How he phrased it was this. He said, calling three of my colleagues, or a number of my colleagues, bastards was absolutely unforgivable, adding, my only excuse was that it was true. Apart from being an obvious bastard, can someone tell me what other hobby Michael Portillo has taken up?
Musical instrument.
No, but music's involved, actually, Paul.
Is it London grime?
Ian, do you know what London grime is?
Yeah, it's everywhere. Just
Like fellow Tory George Osborne, Michael Portillo seems to have developed a taste for rap group NWA. Here he is with a startling rendition of Straight Outta Compton on BBC's This Week.
Weekly, monthly, yearly, until them dumb fools see clearly that I'm down with the capital CPT. Boy, you can't mess with me. So when I'm in your neighbourhood, you better duck, because Portillo is crazy as...
They bleeped the wrong bit out. They should have got rid of all the other stuff.
Due to his unhelpful views on Europe, Michael Portillo was called a bastard in 1993 by the then Prime Minister John Major. He followed his outburst over the bastards with reference to Lyndon Johnson's maxim about J. Edgar Hoover. It's better to have him inside the tent pissing out than outside the tent pissing in. To be honest, on Bake Off, we're just the same with Mary Berry. So, Jon Snow, as you've said, is the illegitimate son of Ned Stark in TV series Game of Thrones and is often referred to as Ned Stark's bastard. Game of Thrones' mix of intrigue, violence and boobs have unsurprisingly helped make it a firm hit with politicians. Anyone here watch it? Not a fan? No. You're a fan?
Yeah.
What draws you? Is it the intrigue, the violence, or the boobs?
Yeah, with Playboy gone. That's all there is. No, it's just the violence, I'll be honest.
Let me try and pronounce this correctly. Plectorhynchus caerulionothus is a newly recognised fish, actually, that's been caught off the coast of Queensland, Australia, and given the name Blue Bastard. According to the Daily News, the Blue Bastard is a member of what anglers call the sweet lips family, so called because they're pouting, fleshy lips. Lonely hobby, angling. Time now for the Missing Words round, which this week features, as its guest publication, Merry-Go Roundup, a National Carousel Association's newsletter. And for those wondering about its circulation, once every 30 seconds. And we're going to start with what made no mention of merry-go-rounds?
The Bible. The Nazi war trials after the Second World War.
It's a famed writer.
A famed writer, Ernest Hemingway.
Bill Bryson.
It was somebody who was a renowned diarist.
Samuel Pepys.
Bridget Jones.
No, Bridget. She did. No, she did actually say they were VVV good. The renowned diarist of the mid-17th century, Samuel Pepys, made no mention of merry-go-rounds. This is from Merry-Go Roundup. The magazine have criticised Samuel Pepys for mentioning the restoration of Charles II, the fire of London, the Second Dutch War and the Great Plague, and yet somehow missing out the advent of the carousel. They are furious. Next, hospital puts what and what on the same plate?
Oh, this is savoury and pudding, isn't it, on the same plate?
You're right, it was sort of savoury and sweet, and the answer is chicken...
Custard and fish.
Custard I'll give you half, actually, because it's chicken curry and fruit crumble on the same plate. This is St James University Hospital in Leeds, who served one patient this. According to The Sun, after the complaint, an auxiliary nurse offered her a yoghurt instead. Although someone had stuck a sausage in it.
Sounds quite nice.
Oh, no.
Public school dinners again, isn't it?
Memories.
Yeah, that takes you right back. Next, what look-alike searching for what look-alike to complete act?
It's Ant Deck.
You're on the
Swansea look-alike searching for a dog with one eye look-alike to complete act.
Ian was more on it with double acts.
Double
so,
acts.
Yeah.
Laurel and Hardy.
Is the right answer, yes. A Laurel look-alike searching for Hardy look-alike to complete act. This is a man in Berkshire called James Pedell who's looking for a Hardy look-alike to double up with his Laurel. Here he is. But if you're after an Oliver Hardy look-alike, just go on Tinder, swipe yes to an extremely attractive man in their mid-20s, and when they turn up, they will look like Oliver Hardy. Trust me. Next we have... England abandoned its own form of merry-go-round in the 1850s after what?
European merry-go-rounds proved superior. The French one was better. The German one was much better. Apart from the emissions.
The answer is after mass import of top-frame roundabouts from France. Around the 1850s, a carousel of wooden horses was known in England as a merry-go-round and in France as a mont déjeuner, or ride your lunch. Next up, we've got German forestry minister accidentally what?
Marches in the Czechoslovakia. The trees are so much nicer here. I have not got my map, I do not know about borders.
We're putting it together, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the worst thing a German forestry minister could do?
Set fire to a tree?
Yes, starts forest fire.
Ah.
Finally, duck wearing bow tie walks into pub, drinks pint, what?
Duck wearing bow tie, walks into pub, drinks pint, and the landlord says that'll be £5, and the duck says, do you get many ducks in here? And he says, no. He said, well, I'm not surprised if you charge him £5 a pint. And that's the end of that.
Drinks pint, and then a dog comes in and is like, listen, I'm sick of you hanging around here.
You're actually right. Duck wearing bow tie walks into pub, drinks pint, fights dog, loses. This is Star the Duck who got into a fight with a dog after drinking beer in a Devon pub. According to the Mirror, the duck performs with his owner Barry on stage. It doesn't specify what the act is, although it is rather worrying the duck has to be drunk to do it. So, the final scores, they are close. We have Paul and Sadiq on 7 and narrowly in the lead. Ian and Roisin with 8. Yeah.
Well done, both.
But before we go, there's just time for the caption competition. Ian and Roisin have this.
Lib Dem conference, sellout.
Paul and Sadiq, you get this one.
Oh, it is going to be a duck down the pub tonight. He goes anywhere near my potty, if he's got a bow tie on him, I'm going to have him.
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Roisin Conaty and Paul Merton and Sadiq Khan. And I leave you with news that, after Australia top their group in the Rugby World Cup, one fan totally overdoes it on the beers. After Robert Peston announces his defection to ITV, Nick Robinson hopes he'll finally get his go with the BBC wig. And as two sisters win a fancy dress contest in St. Petersburg, the runner-up simmers with rage at the injustice. Good night.
Michael Sheen hosts When Have I Got News For You returns on Friday at 9 here on BBC One. Colin Farrell and Rachel Weisz are among the guests on the Graham Norton Show next here. And over on BBC Three now, it's Family Guy.